Hello friends, welcome to my present wrapping studio. I wanted to chit chat today because not only is it gifting season, but it is also goal setting season, aka my favorite part of the year. I love New Year's with all of the planning and the goal setting and all of that stuff, you know, trying to figure out what we're gonna do and how we're gonna accomplish things and what I want to do, because it's basically just deciding how you want your life to go and then making a plan to get it there. And what is better than that, right? So I love goal setting, but I wanted to talk today about a part of goal setting that is often left out or not thought of. And that is, wrapping up the sweater. Don't forget to take your tags off. Okay, I'm just gonna pull the whole tag off because it's not coming off. So wanted to chit chat about goal setting and a step that you might be missing, and that is specifically for people who are doing the online business thing and trying to, you know, make money online. When you go to set your goals, sometimes we forget to think about how your goals go into your life and your lifestyle and what you want out of your life. So that's kind of what I want to talk about today. Specifically, this box is not happy with me. Do these two even go together? I don't know. I'm just gonna wrap it and it'll be fine. So specifically, when you are going to, you know, make your goals and you're gonna decide, you know, how much money you want to make and what you want to do, instead of just starting, I kind of do this in two sections. The first thing that I do is I go through and I come up with a number that I think, the first thing I do is I go through and I come up with a number that I think I can hit. Okay, so this is something that like shouldn't be an issue. I'm probably going to hit it, and there we go. And that's kind of my first line of defense. Then I go through and I say, okay, now what else? And then after that, I go through and I spend some time. And then after I, you know, do that, then I think, okay, but what do I want out of life? And now you could start here, but I like to have a practical number first, based on data, based on, you know, how much I made last year, based on what I think I can do this year, and then think through, okay, what do I actually want out of life? And where do I see myself in 10 years and in 5 years? And so I did this morning actually, and I just did it in my journal, and I just wrote out like, okay, 10 years from now, I'm gonna be this old, I'm gonna want, you know, XYZ, I would like these different things, okay? And then I said, okay, in 5 years, I'm gonna be this old, and this is what I want my life to look like, which is frankly a little bit scary because 5 years isn't that long of a time. And so realizing like what I want in 5 years was a little bit terrifying, because I was like, oh my gosh, that's really soon. And I'm gonna be you know, like, oh, I'm gonna be that old in 5 years, yowza. And so just like thinking through all of that kind of stuff. And then I go through and I make like a bullet pointed kind of situation. So if I am following this path, I, you know, said I want X, Y, Z. So for example, within 5 years, I think I would like to have a new house. And that's not like a 100% for sure thing. We might change our minds, but right now, thinking through what I want my life to be like in the next 5 years, I'm like, man, I'm probably going to want to live somewhere else, okay? Love our house, nothing wrong with it, but just, you know, that's something that I would like. So that's something that went on the list. And then working backwards, I'm like, okay, then I need to start paying for said, you know, house payment. down payment. And then also I need to pay off some debt. And so figuring out and actually going through like month by month, if I make this much money, then how much can I pay off in the next year? And so just doing a lot of thinking through things that way of like, okay, if this is what if this is what I want in 10 years, if this is what I want in 5 years, what needs to happen in the next year in order for that to come to fruition? Okay, if you have kids and you want your kids to go to private school and right now they're 2, then how many years do you have until you need to start paying that private school tuition? Or if they're going to college, how many years do you have until you start paying for college? Are you going to pay for college? How are you gonna pay for that? How much money do you need to make in order to make that happen? What kind of house are you looking at? How much money do you need to make in order to get that house that you're looking at? How much of a down payment? Like all of those things are things that go into your life goals that then are going to be transferred into your business goals. Okay, so think through, in 10 years, I wanna be here. In 5 years, I wanna be here. Okay, what do I do now in order to do that in 5 years? Like what is it that you have to do? I got this from my grandma. It's a stained glass sand dollar. It's so cute. From Tivy Island Hives Stained Glass Storytellers is where they're from. They were at the craft show I did. Okay, what was I talking about? So before you get, super set into what your goals are gonna be, think through, what do I wanna be doing personally in 5 years? Because if your goal in 5 years is to, work for yourself, then you're gonna be looking at very different things than if your goal for 5 years is gonna be, being a principal. Okay, those are very different things. You're gonna have very different paths depending on what you're doing. Is this business that you make, is this, gonna make you, do you want it to make you, tons of money so you can pay for a new house? Or do you just, want it to do whatever it does and you focus on other things? Okay, those are gonna change how you approach your goals. When you are making your goals, you need to make sure they are aligned with whatever goals you're working for. And if you haven't sat down and thought through what you want your life to look like in the next few years, you need to do that, because that gives you all the directions for everything else. Knowing how you want your life to go. My brother asked for a portfolio. I was like, okay. Knowing how you want your life to go gives you a blueprint for what you need to do and how you need to, how much money you need to make, how much you need to accomplish. I know I talk a lot about money, but frankly, that's usually what people are thinking about when they're on our channel, because we talk about business. Now, the other thing you need to consider is the other side of that. Specifically, the other thing you need to consider when it comes to this is kind of the opposite side of that. So we talked about, okay, how much money do you need to make in order to achieve your personal goals? So once you decide how much money you need to make in order to achieve your personal goals, then you can think through what all you need to do in order to make that happen. So for example, my morning, I was like, okay, here are all my goals. So here's what I think I would like to have, in my pocket each month so that I am able to hit all of my goals. And in case you are curious, my goals are to pay off a lot of debt this year. Like a lot. Because I want it to be all gone very, very soon. So paying off lots of debt is a huge goal of mine right in 2023. So that is going, so I figured out like, okay, here is, what I think I might be able to make. And then based off that, how much debt would I like to pay off each month? Here's the amount of money that I would like to make monthly in order to pay off said amount of debt, okay? this goes the same if you're looking to buy a new house and you need a certain amount for your down payment, or if you are doing pretty much anything, it applies in some way. So then don't stop there. You have one more step, and that is to actually figure out how the heck you are going to make that money, because you know, it's got to come from somewhere. It doesn't, you can't just cross your fingers and hope that magically money's gonna flow in. Like, that's not how this works. So instead, you need to think through like, okay, what do I need to do in order to make that happen? So I went through and planned out like, okay, here are some projects I can do. If I launch this, it'll probably make this amount of money. If I, you know, add a couple of products, if I add, you know, products here and products there, it's gonna make this much money, and all of that fun stuff that is going to hopefully add up to, you know, the correct amount of money. I also will say that I like to leave a margin of error. So, you know, figuring out like, okay, what can I make? What can I launch? How do I need to grow my email list? How do I need to get more viewers? You know, do I need to get more people on my blog so that I'm sending more people to TPT? How do I get more people on my blog? Do I need to do Pinterest? Do I need to work on SEO? Do I need to do ads? Like, thinking through all of those things gives you action items that you can do so that you have an actual real life plan moving forward, which is the magic of all of this. It's from my other cousin. So think through, what are your personal goals? How is that going to affect your, you know, business goals? And then how are you going to do the things you need to do in order to hit said personal goal? And now the answer might be, that's kind of maybe not going to happen. And if you feel that way, that's fine. Adjust your personal goals from there so that you are being realistic about it and you are not, you know, kidding yourself. Because the last thing you want to do is set the bar so ridiculously high that you're never going to hit it. Now, I'm a fan of dreaming big, so I'm not going to tell you to not dream big, but I am going to tell you that it's just maybe, you know, you gotta think through what you're actually going to be able to do. So if you're like, I want to, you know, so if you're like, okay, I want to make, because, you know, if you're like, I want to make $1 billion, but last year you only made 5, that's probably not going to happen. And that's just being realistic. So like, what is a realistic view of what you're going to be able to do? Think about that. Once you have thought about all that, then I also want you to stop and think about the flip side. And the flip side of that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I highly recommend putting a cutting mat underneath your wrapping paper, because I honestly did it just so that I wouldn't scratch up my desk, but it is being very helpful in measuring. So on the flip side, you also have to think about how much work that's going to be, because again, we're not crossing our fingers and hoping for the best. This is actual real work. What are you actually doing? And so if you are, you know, wanting to grow at a large rate, you're probably going to need to put in a lot of work. And if you're doing things in your personal life that are not going to allow that, you need to be careful. What I mean is things like this. If you are wanting to, you know, go back to school and get your master's, awesome. That's something I would like to do, hopefully soon. If I go back and get my master's, I'm not going to have as much time to work on TPT because I'm going to be busy with all my master's work. Okay? If you are having a kid, you're probably not going to be able to put in as much work as you would if you were not having a kid this year. So you have to think through all of those things as well and be like, do I have time for all of these things? And if the answer is no, then unfortunately you have to adjust your expectations so that you are not super overwhelmed by things that you don't have the time to accomplish. So that's why it is important to have all of those personal life things planned out in order to make sure that you can hit your goals and that your business goals are aligned. So as you are going through making your goals this year, I should how to do this in a vlog that will be coming out either soon or already came out. Oh, I missed a piece. I'll have to tape that down. As you are making your goals, make sure that you think about your personal goals and you think about how those personal goals are aligned with your business goals. So when I went through and I made mine, just being honest, I made my goals and then I was like, oh, if I'm going to be able to keep up with and do what I want in my personal life, aka paying off a whole bunch of debt, I'm gonna need to be able to make a little bit more money than that. And so I had to go through and readjust and up my goal for next year so that I could make more money so that I can accomplish the things I want to in my personal life. You might have the opposite problem. If you go through your goals and then you know, realize, oh, hey, I'm doing XYZ this year, or I'm starting a new job, or I'm taking on more responsibility at church, or whatever. If you're doing those things, you're not gonna be able to put as much time into your business as maybe you would like. So when you go to make your goals, you have to think through what is practical, but also think through what are my personal goals, what are my personal things I'm doing, what are my personal things I need money for, what are, like, where am I going, where am I headed, and how do I bring that into fruition with what I'm doing next year. Whenever you make your yearly goals, I want you to think of it as, this is me stepping into the future that I want, okay? Whether that is, I'm making more money so I can send my kids to a good school, or I want to make more money so I can buy a new house, or I want to make more money so I can quit my job, or I want to work less so I have time to pursue a master's degree. I want to work less so I have time to spend with my kids. Whichever way it goes, you have to think about your goals, your personal goals and your business goals, and how those align. Because especially when you are a, you know, solo entrepreneur, when you are a side hustler, your goals personally and professionally intertwine so much. They are so intertwined because, you know, when I go to school, I have goals like for teaching, but they don't really affect me outside of school. Like, it doesn't really matter. It does matter inside school, but those things don't affect me outside of school. Okay? You know, whether I decide to have a choir or not have a choir affects me minimally. Whether I decide to, you know, implement this certain program or not implement it doesn't affect me when I get home. But if I decide to, you know, pursue a certain amount of money, or if I decide to work a certain amount, that directly affects me at home because they're linked. So make your goals, think about what's practical, but also think about what you want to do and where you want to go and what kind of person you want to be and how you want to achieve those goals. These are all things that I'm thinking through this goal setting season. Making sure I'm not working too much, making sure that I am, however, making enough money to cover what I want to cover, and just really making sure that everything is aligned next year so that you will feel, you know, good about things and not stressed about things. I hope that that made sense. I know it was maybe a little bit all over the place because I'm over here wrapping Christmas presents, but you know, your girl is all about the multitasking. You know, everyone's like, don't multitask, and I don't believe them. So that's my story. Go make your goals and leave your goal setting questions either down below in the comments, or you can send me a message over on Instagram at becca.e.davis. I love talking goal setting. I love this time of year. I love the planning and the thinking and all of that. And if you want a little bit more help, I actually have a goal setting freebie you can download to help make your best year yet. And I also have a goal setting course that will walk you through exactly how to think through this past year and how to make plans and goals for next year that are, yes, aligned with what you are doing in your personal life and we'll go through how to make more money in your business, like the practical, like what you actually need to do to accomplish that, and pretty much everything you need to make 2023 your best year ever, or 2024 if you're watching this next year. So thanks for watching. Send me your questions. I'll leave links to those things in the description, and I'll see you next time. Bye.